Ooh. Akili Beckwith is our guest. And this is a guest in my life. It's getting pretty regular. I'm digging it. I work with you. I reach out to you, and you have guidance for me. And that's why you're here. Because you're going to share that. You better start talking, by the way.
I thought
They're going to
intro.
Was he with a mute? This guy he sign languages to him.
Okay.
How is he guiding him? Yeah.
I'm going to be candid. I'm just going to be myself.
Exactly. That's exactly.
I give you guidance? No, I don't. We turn within to that presence, as when Frankie was asking me about the Course in Miracles, that there's only one teacher, and that's the indwelling presence.
Yeah.
And that's what you and I do together. We go there and release our agenda and allow what I would think is a much better opportunity.
It's a much better vibration. I talk about vibration all the time. I just love living in that. When I talk to you, I get to go there, even however you're defining it. It's a pathway. But you've learned so much through the years.
That's true.
Yes. So there's the knowledge is in there. I mean, you brought your thinking cap with you, by the way. I love that. He brought a literal cap that says thinking on it. So he took off his thinking cap and he actually went blank. I have a watch similar to that. All it says is now.
I like that.
I look down, I see my watch says now.
I like that.
And that's all we have.
Yeah, I'm going to get one of those.
All we have is now. And that's all we have right now. And we allow this presence within us to unfold and reveal itself. And it's just, I just can't believe how lucky I am, to know you. I mean,
to know me.
no. I mean, really, to know you, that you can bring these things out. I know it's not, you don't want to give yourself credit because that's ego and stuff like that. But it really does, it hits my heart, and other people have noticed it even. And they're saying, what's his number?
Well, I'm going to say this. That's because of your commitment and your willingness to do your own inner work.
Yeah.
You're seeing the fruits of what you've planted, and what you're harvesting is your willingness to go there.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about you, that you're willing to go there.
Yeah.
And allow that stuff to come up.
Oof, it's ugly.
See it for what it is.
Yeah.
And forgive it with love.
Yeah. And
that's my experience with you.
Yeah, well, thanks. And I think the other experience you have with me, you're not talking about it right now, but I know this to be true, is you're also bringing out some funny with me, but not funny like in a performance, or it's not performative. It's not thought out. It's these instincts that they're already in me, because obviously I've been a comedian for a very long time. But a lot of it's the self-deprecating stuff that's coming out. I have a story that you know the story, but they don't know the story, about when I was walking the dog the other day.
Yes.
And I'm talking to you. I have these meta glasses, and I can talk through the glasses. I love it.
Oh, you have some of those.
Yeah, I grew up poor. I don't know if you knew that. And to just have anything like this is just freaky to me. I was looking at Dick Tracy when I was a kid, thinking, you're going to talk through a watch, and now you can talk through your watch or whatever. It's just nuts. I mean, this stuff came true.
Yep.
So I've got these Tony Stark glasses, and I talk through them, and I walk the dog, which is another thing that's just evolved with me. The dog is just really to become this, who the dog is supposed to be, even because it was traumatized on the streets and about to be killed, and everything's pit bull. Nobody likes her. And now she's just this really cool dog that goes on my left-hand side. And I go on this path after I drop my daughter off at school, and it's a big circle around a park. And I'm with you, talking to you. And you're guiding, and you're saying, challenging me. And I'm going, oh, yeah. And I'm really feeling uplifted. And then these three women come down the path. And I immediately go to, you self-obsessed idiots, move over. It's my path.
That's right.
And do you work with people that have these discoveries? I mean, and
sure.
You do. So you've seen this happen with other people. It's an accountability, right?
I would say it's accountability, yes. Accountability, or willingness and embracing. Let me put it like this. There's one problem and one solution. Mm-hmm. Who do I say I am? So everything leads back to, who do I say I am? What is my real identity? Is it what my name? Is it my state or station in life? Or is it what the Creator, whatever we call that? Is that my identity? Mm-hmm. So with one problem being, I feel separate, I feel lost, I feel all these things out of alignment, as you would say, back in alignment. Mm-hmm. But once we get to the point where we realize I have the ability and the responsibility to say what is so for me. Yeah. So who do I say I am? Do I say I am a black man in America that's had a certain experience that could appear to be negative? Or am I a divine being having an experience that includes everything?
That we're all one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're all one.
So who do I say I am is always going to be the answer.
And what is your answer to that?
A image and likeness of the Creator,
Yeah.
an expression, an extension.
And every day that's affirmed for you, and it becomes a practice where it becomes intuitive.
Absolutely.
So that's your answer always, where I'd have to think about that answer because my practice isn't as strong. I'm getting there. And the other day, I laughed with you. And I said, I was about to call them a name. And the other one that happened days later. So anyway, they came back around again, and I smiled this time. I allowed that. Nothing came back. Next time around, smiled back. Next time around, all three smiled, and they moved over. And I just thought, what a cool little tale to tell myself on a regular basis. If someone's coming at me, they've got their own agenda, they've got their own thoughts, they could have something really going on. They could be in tremendous grief. Someone could have been killed in their life. I don't know this.
Exactly.
And I'm going to expect them to move over and, I'm like, hey, make some room here, all that arrogant stuff. You don't know what they're going through, but I do know that if I give them this bliss that's inside of me, it's reflected back. So then a few days later, I'm talking to you, and it happened again with a single woman, and she was coming down. I'm going, what's with this? I can't believe it. I think she's really trying to bump me off the path, like a hip check in hockey. And I started doing that, and then I laughed again, which is my bullet train to a higher source, God, and that's my train. And I laughed, and then. Yours too?
Absolutely.
It's the best. It's the best to laugh. I don't think people give it the credit that it deserves.
It's actually healing.
And then I said to you, I go, yeah, she's on the wrong side. I said, I'm on the right side. And then I realized in both cases, and I was there this morning again, I wrote, oh my God, it's the correct side of I'm in England.
Right, exactly.
I was on the left. I'm going, you're supposed to drive on the left-hand side. Where did I get that? That's how righteous we can be. Mm-hmm. That's the point. Mm-hmm. We can be so righteous that it can even turn into a lie.
Starts with a lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. But what I appreciate is watching you shift in those 5 minutes or half hour, whatever it took, to watch you be activated.
Yeah.
And then as we continued to talk and you talked, you changed your mind.
It was within minutes, actually.
Yeah.
Minutes.
You actually moved from here to there.
Yeah.
Saw it differently, and everybody had a different experience. Because as you said earlier, we're one.
Yeah.
And when you light up, everyone lights up because it lights up everyone's mind if they're receptive to it.
It happens in comedy all the time.
I mean, can I say this? When I first met you, I saw you 25 years ago when you did a stand-up show at our spiritual center.
Right.
And from that moment, I connected with you because I watched you go from one being to another being.
Yeah, I do turn to another being.
Yes. So just using
the Love Master, he's a whole other being.
Exactly. That's the one I'm speaking of.
Yeah.
But to watch your moment-to-moment transformation just by your willingness to turn there.
Yeah.
A lot of people just stay in anger. They're addicted to anger and their way of seeing things, and that's fine.
I'm glad you said that.
But,
in the creative sense, and as I listen to my creator, and that allows me to stand up since high school. It was a very long time ago.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, 17 years old. I started as a professional. I started right away. And to get out of my way is the biggest key to be in flow. That connection with the audience, it's just so profound. I could never even express it in words.
Exactly.
What happens, and it channels, these things like the Love Master channels through me. And I get out of the way, and I know there are people judging. I know there are people that are offended. I know there are people that just don't get it. I know the people that have all of this, and it doesn't matter. And yet that has been a character that has survived.
Yep.
because it's truthful. I'm making fun of a guy that's a Lothario guy. And I'm doing it through this mechanism that I'm tapped into.
And it's a beautiful thing to watch because, as you were saying that, I could see people in the audience, even now, if they're offended,
Yeah.
they've been activated.
And
they have an opportunity to laugh through whatever's been activated.
exactly.
So that's why I said in the beginning, it's healing. Comedy is the best healing.
Yeah.
So what you do on two levels that I see is you activate people, and then you give them the antidote as well.
I like that word. I think it's a great word, is activate.
Instead of trigger.
Oh, I don't like that word.
Exactly, I don't either.
You know what I say? Put the gun away.
Exactly.
Trigger, put the gun away. There's no need for a gun here.
That's right.
There's no need for you to pull that thing out and point it at somebody because you're not getting it. You're just not getting it. Whatever they're delivering, it's the fullest of intentions are there. You can get angry all you want, but it's something you're projecting. It's something you're not dealing with.
Exactly.
Because our intention is just to bring you joy, is to tap in, is to activate your true self, which is love, light, and laughter.
Absolutely.
That's who we really are born as.
Exactly.
And then I like to say you just get conditioned and programmed to comply, to deliver what they ask you to do. Absolutely. You get a good mark, a good grade, way to go, a pat on the back. But anything to do with memorize something for us, that's how you're educated. Do you ever think about that, about our education system, about what they teach?
I do.
And I'm sure I can tell by your face, there's some judgment.
No, there's just an awareness that
Which,
education means to draw out from within. And what we do primarily in our society is we put stuff in. So that's not real education. That's programming and manipulation.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
But when we have a context for children to know who they are and to bring that forward as we see, that's education. Educare, the root of the word.
And I love that you know scriptures of all kinds. You really do. And you had one the other day, and I was walking, so I couldn't really write it down. Do you remember what it was?
I never. You mentioned that in a text. I'm trying to think. What did I say?
Oh, damn it! I wrote down a few words of it, but then I was.
Did you say Moses?
Yeah, it was Moses. It was something that Moses said.
See, that's funny to me.
He's my muse.
Because there's. Oh, we can go any place.
No, go any place. Go any place. Let it fly. And, it's. But I love that you have. That's the kind of education. It's really profound to me, is when you have an education of things that have lasted all of these years.
Yes.
It stood the test of time. I think one of the problems in society is things are theoretical now. It's theoretical in how to, the one I laugh at is the kids are in a timeout. Have you ever tried it? It doesn't work.
I don't think we did timeouts.
No, well, yeah, go get me something to beat you with. But
no, I didn't do that. I got that.
Yeah, exactly. We got that. That's how it is. But it's a theory that has, if you peel back the theory, it does not work. How can you say you're in a timeout? They're now going to say, no, I'm not. And now what do? We would get beaten. There's no option. Uh-huh. So now all the options that used to be there, they're starting to, and some of them should have been taken away, but there aren't many options now with these theories. They just don't work. Holding space, I don't know what the hell that means. I've never seen it work. Hashtags, never seen it work. We were talking about that yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
I never understood what a hashtag was until...
Yeah, for us, it was a pound sign when we were growing up. It was a pound sign. And it should just be pounded out. It doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that transformation, evolution takes place from trends or following something that's virtue signaling or telling other people, join this gang, join this mob. And we have a mob that we're right, and we've got this hashtag of all time, and it's catchy, and you can also be Me Too. Come on, join the Me Toos. And I was talking to you yesterday about, I don't think, it's a theory. I don't think that anyone ever has actually had a moment, like let's say it's some racist guy. I'll do the accent of a supposed racist, talk like this, you know something, I was just thinking about this. girl, I can't stand women. I just hate them. They should be beaten. But then I saw Me Too, a hashtag Me Too. I thought, man, I got some empathy that just shine through me. Women are my equals. No, it doesn't happen. And this is why I just think that there needs to be more practice.
Absolutely.
Practice. Alvin Iverson didn't like practice.
Yeah, that's misconstrued. His friend died, and that's why he said that. See, they only showed part of that.
Oh, of course. Everything's misconstrued by
Yeah.
the media, who are also master manipulators.
Absolutely.
They misconstrue things. And you know what? I'm a big Sixers fan, and that's the first I've ever heard that. I did not know that he had someone that died.
Yes, he had a
No.
good friend who passed.
Wow,
and he
see.
missed practice that day.
There's a background that all you hear. And by the way, still quoted.
Exactly,
I just quoted
out
him
of
just now.
context.
I just quoted him just
Exactly.
now. 17 years later, practice. We're talking about practice.
Exactly.
I do like the way he said it.
I love it. Yeah.
So it goes to show you, this is a thought I had the other day, and the education that we receive is what they choose for us to memorize and regurgitate. They choose, so you'll have a degree in memorization and regurgitating of what we decide you should learn.
Absolutely.
Facts and figures from things that's all in another world, it means nothing. In another realm, it means nothing. In another society, it means nothing. But Columbus sailed the ocean to in 1492. Nina Pinta Santa Maria. I know all that crap, right? It means nothing. As a matter of fact, then you peel that back. Shouldn't have his own day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
You know,
I'm being careful what I say.
You do not be careful. Stop with the careful. We're on a free flow here. You pretend you're talking to me. I'm on my walk with my dog. I might stop now and then and say, good girl. That's what I do. Actually, Frankie's here. I have a funny story about it. Through the glasses. The first trainer was a little bit punishing, right? At a yank, I'd say, leave it. And I was really upset. And by the way, people pick up energy.
Absolutely.
The dog is a perfect example. They pick up this energy of control and my anger. And now she's freaking out and she's in fear. I'm all taking my fear and projecting it onto her. Listen to that, folks. Projecting your fear onto someone else will not make their fear go away.
That's right.
I thought about this the other day when I see people go, relax. Whoa, I ain't going to relax like that. Relax. Like command
That's
you to
inspiring.
yeah, sure. Oh, geez, that calmed me down right on the spot, didn't it? Relax. And it's just, I just noticed that, energy follows thought. And if you have these thoughts of, you must memorize these things. And I realized the other day, what we're memorizing isn't doing anything to uplift us. It's not making us better human beings. It's not bringing us together.
Generally speaking, yes.
Generally speaking, it separates us. Because now we're saying, well, you now have a degree and you're more educated, so you're better than these people who don't know these facts and figures that we just gave you. Does that make them any smarter than this person over here?
Not at all.
Yeah.
That's why it always comes back to, as I said before, who do I say I am?
Yeah.
Am I my education? Am I my bank account? Am I my last name? Is that my identity? So when all this stuff is rushing through my mind, of course, and I'm just thinking about what you asked me before we got on the air about
Turnaround.
a turnaround.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think of one,
Yeah.
but then I did.
I just wanted to reframe it real quick for everybody listening. This show could be subtitled The Turnaround. It's still standing up because we're standing up. We're standing up in courage. We're standing up for change. We're standing up for transformation, positive transformation. We're standing up with our source, with our light. This is what we're standing for, the I am.
Exactly.
But we have obstacles. We have difficulties. And how do you turn that around?
Exactly.
So now you found one. I stumped you at first, my great guide.
Because I when you asked me that, I had to just scan my life real quick and think.
Yeah.
I've had all kind of challenges in my life.
Yeah.
But I'll just use the one that has carried me even now was my spiritual intention. I was working for the Teamsters as a field representative. Blah, 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 blah. And the politics rolled out to where I ended up losing my job. And At the time, I was a single parent. I was raising my son. And the long and short of it is, I ended up, I was studying my spiritual stuff. I was studying at the Guidance Church of Religious Science. And I was hired as a prayer counselor at the World Ministry of Prayer. So for 8 hours a day, I would pray for people over the phone. That, I would say, was a major turnaround, because I could have gotten lost in, I got to find a job.
Fear.
I did have that fear. And one of my brothers reminded me, you don't need a job, follow your heart. So that is why it was hard for me to look at a turnaround, because I followed my heart most of my life. And I don't mean that I followed my heart. I followed what was on my heart, whether it made sense or not. And that didn't always turn out well in the world.
Right.
But when I think about turnaround...
It's never not perfect, though, is it? Define well. Sometimes the not well leads to even better well.
Absolutely.
You know
it's
what
all
I mean?
Working together.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And that's why I say the turnaround is sometimes we hit that point where what it seems like... Yeah, go.
I just remembered.
Yeah.
I was on my way to the welfare office, and I was going to get welfare because I had a son and I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
And they said, we have to bring your child down here. I don't even know if people, my friends that are watching, know this. Anyway, I took my son down to the office, and I walked in, and we sat down, and I looked around, and I said, no, we're not doing this. This is not what we're doing. This is not where you came from, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I grabbed his hand, and we walked on out. And I became very serious about my spiritual practice. And that took many iterations over the years. But that would be a wonderful turnaround moment, because I was responsible for someone else, not just myself.
Yeah.
So I had to stand up, as you just said. I had to stand up inside of myself and face my fears. And I'll never forget Nirvana Original Gale, one of our brothers who's on the other side of the veil now. I called him up crying, like, man, I'm at my wit's end with money and everything.
Yeah.
I remember him just laughing.
He laughed.
He laughed and said, oh, brother, everything's going to be all right. You don't need a job. As I said before, you need to follow your heart. And that was a great turnaround for me.
Yeah, I hear you.
And then I went on to do a lot of things.
I think that has to do with also the mindset of lack and limitation.
Absolutely.
When you're in that and not in the infinite sense of mindset.
Yes.
I
didn't have that awareness then. I was
It
studying
was
and
funny
learning.
I was in a welfare office too and walked out. It's funny.
I'm very proud of that. In this, not proud, but
No, I get it.
I'm glad I made that distinction and said, no, this is not what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah.
So something you said earlier about the education that most of us receive. And you're an example of this. I'm an example of this. And there are many other examples of people who are changing that paradigm by not feeding their children that false sense of education, and are actually bringing, as you said, and as I always say, bringing the light and the love and the true intelligence, activating that in our
divine
children.
Intelligence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that they can live the life they've come to live.
Yeah.
I looked at I saw a post you did when Jackson was laying in your arms yesterday, asleep. And I just stared at it for a few moments and said, that's it right there. That's it. We're all cradled in our Creator. We can say Father, Mother, God. We can say nothing. But that picture of you and what you said about it is a lesson for everyone. Do you remember what you said?
Well, I say a lot of things. I usually don't post brief.
That's true.
No, I allow for flow. I do very long posts, and I don't care. People criticize it. I don't care. If it's not meant for you, then move on. It is meant. Right. It's meant to be whoever hears it.
Yes,
whoever,
and that's what a channel does.
Whoever receives, I channel.
Exactly.
I channel, and I sit there. I literally type with my thumbs, and it comes out. And I know that one of them was one of your lessons. It came out that I don't want to cry, but
you said I could cry. Cry.
My dad leaving when I was born, or you know.
Yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah. it had an effect on me.
Yes.
And I went through some pretty rough stuff in finding that father.
Yes.
I befriended this guy that betrayed me, a serial pedophile, and I went down some pretty rough roads, for even the fraternity, thinking I'm going to get a brotherhood out of this. And meanwhile, they're dipping me in my own vomit. I'm literally.
Let me stop you for a second.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of in the very front of the Course in Miracles, it says, we're not here to teach you about love because that is something that can't be taught. We're here to remove the blocks to love's awareness, which is our natural and supernatural inheritance. So when you were starting to describe that situation and what we were speaking about a few moments ago, everything is designed for us to remove the blocks so that we can really channel, be a vessel for that higher intelligence. And that's grounded. That's not airy-fairy. It's grounded.
Yeah.
It's principled.
People who say things are woo-woo or airy-fairy are just afraid.
Exactly. Or they don't have any understanding.
But they don't. But they're afraid to understand. They're afraid to look outside of what they were taught and how they were conditioned, and how dare you. And then they have the parental guilt that comes with it because you're going outside of what they tell you to do and all that stuff.
And then you come along and light them up and activate them with some comedy.
Oh, I activate them.
And the heart opens.
Sometimes I activate anger too.
Yes.
When I said that I did a podcast of somebody they opposed, now they're no longer my fan. And, and people will private text me and go, hey man, you really lit them up. And those people that are private texting me are going, they're saying, I acknowledge what you're doing. I won't say it in public. That's what's so funny. Some people are afraid to even say it in public that they agree with you. But what I said in the post, I believe, was something similar that you told me. Is I've had the Father all along.
That's right.
It's inside of me.
That's our walk.
Yeah.
As I see it.
No, as
that's the walk.
As I now,
the invisible.
as I now see it as well.
Yeah.
Ever since you said that to me, made me aware. And again, maybe somebody listening to this right now needed to hear that. Is this, we all think we're abandoned by mom or dad or whatever it is, but it's always there. It's there. We were born with it. So,
and it got covered up.
I happen to have the illusion of a dad leave fast, and I had to go get to that, process of this discovery. I had to go down a rocky road.
Absolutely.
It's an expedition, and we're, there's going to be
compelling story.
Whew,
Right?
Sometimes I laugh though. I just can't believe the stories that unfold with me. And my friends say, only you, Shu. I mean, the things that happen, they're just, it's out of fiction. People think it's fiction.
Right.
Do you know there's things in my act I don't even talk about because they just go, oh, he's a comedian. He's making it up. I've actually had friends that challenge me, go, you're making that up. I think it happened today. It was just, I had to go, swear on my children. Oh, I know what it was, that I went on 5 dates in a row. They had to blow in a breathalyzer tube to start their car. That's how bad their alcoholism was. And so I'm talking to this woman, and she goes, get out of here. It didn't happen. And I had to go, I swear to God on my kid's life. She doesn't know me. She doesn't know that this is like par yourself for the course for me. Like the things that have happened, they're extraordinary. Now, the word extraordinary can mean something positive. It can also mean something like, whoa, that was like way out of darkness or left field or whatever it is. Some things can happen to you. But I just like to look at it like, well, it's happening for me, because it allows me to grow again and grow again and grow again. But sometimes, do you ever have this happen where you just go, all right, God, I had enough lessons. I had enough. But I think, again, with Moses and things like that, that is the great test. Moses gets there, and what happens? What happens? He gets to this water. They're closing in, and what happens?
As the story goes.
What's the story say, though?
The story says you have to go through the emotional body.
Yeah.
Stand on it, walk upon it.
Yeah.
And walk into the promised land that is your heart.
There you go.
I think a lot of that teaching is metaphor.
Absolutely. There's
But
so
a
much.
lot of people don't. I mean, most of the religions people take literally.
I do think there's a shift that's going on with religion.
No, absolutely.
I really believe that there is a shift going on, and it's a positive shift.
Has to.
Where there's so much awareness, where there's so much healthy skepticism, if you will. And the healthy skepticism is, people, what I couldn't stand during the pandemic? Trust science. That drove me nuts.
Oh, trust science.
We go trust science. I go, really? Did you trust Mengele? I mean, they trusted him too. You just trust any scientist? How about the scientists that told us that smoking was good for you? There were commercials that said that. People forget. How about the 500,000 deaths with opioids, where they're telling you it's not addictive? Come on, folks. That's something that you're afraid to go any further than they tell you to go. But if you live in this world, of the spiritual world, you're going to know there's so much more further to go than just what meets the eye, what they put in front of you, what they bombard you with these images every day. That's what the news does.
What you just said.
What's that?
What did you just say?
I say a lot of things. About
science.
Yes.
Spirituality is science.
Yes. That's exactly right. People forget that.
Yes, it gets caught in the interpretations,
the semantics.
and we miss the science of self-realization. And when people become self-realized with their spiritual practice, game over. I'm no longer manipulated by the theys. When I take full accountability and responsibility for who I say I am, my connection with the universe, and what I speak into existence, and what I believe. So it's my responsibility to take that program out of my computer, not be mad at it, take it out, dissolve it in love, with love, and there's a whole universe inside of us that's waiting to express. And that is what I see you doing, and that's what I'm doing, and all of my colleagues are doing. In a nanosecond, we get to remove the blocks so the light can flow.
Yeah.
We get to remove those clouds so the sun can shine. And every metaphor in the universe is describing that something.
I wish more people, because we're just not fed that. We're just not fed that there's even a possibility of that. I wish more people could feel the bliss that I feel.
They do when you do your thing.
Well, I mean, feel the bliss that I feel with self-discovery, with accountability, with what's my role in this, with all of these, with releasing, with self-deprecation, which I do on stage a lot. But I don't think that in that moment, they're lifted, and I can't even believe I'm still getting these reactions from people. It's amazing. Maybe, now more than ever. Almost every show is a standing ovation. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because I think that's a reflection. What's our reflection that we're putting out there? What am I putting out there that they're reflecting back? We're acknowledging this connection that we're having. We're having a divine, ethereal connection like no other. It's in flow. There's nothing else here right now. And when I'm a conductor, it's an orchestra. It's absolutely, everyone's playing their part. Everyone in that audience plays a part.
That's right.
And that audience will never assemble again.
That's right.
That is exactly what it was in that moment by moment. And when it's on point, strings, bring it to me. Come on there, trombones.
That's right. And that is so true. Divinely orchestrated.
Absolutely. Yeah. Trombones always sound flat, though. They sound like they're hitting off notes because it slides. They're like sliding it in.
Slide trombone.
Yeah. They slide the trombone. It's not really accurate like something else would be accurate with a note. But I like that too. That's all part of the harmony that we're all trying to develop, a harmony in existence that we can all exist together. How do you feel about right versus left, which is so prominent right now?
Me? How do I feel about right versus left politically?
I'm lazy. I'm looking right at you. Of course.
I didn't know if you were just saying that rhetorically.
You're my guest. It's not rhetorical.
What do I think about right versus left?
Right versus left.
I think it's the same bird. And let me say this first and foremost. Last night I was in a class and I shared that in the book I was reading, it talked about the only love we have is God's love. Mm-hmm. It's not the love we have that we share with our wife, our husband, our kids. It's all the same love. And I asked the question to myself, and then I shared it with them. It's like, if everyone had their needs met in the world, would they then love? So as I sat with, I'm not saying people aren't loving that don't have their needs met. I'm just asking that question of my spirit. And what I realized was, and have realized before, I'm just sharing it now, that if people don't have an awakening, everything that's going on now will continue. It'll just look different. But the fact that you are an example, and I'm an example of, and there are many more examples of people that have walked a particular path, had an interruption, awakened, and are now walking the path of awakening. So when I think about the right and the left, I've seen this movie since I was 9 years old. Mm-hmm. There's nothing different.
No.
For me, when I look at the world and say, oh, this is Gerald Ford and Nixon again. This is,
we talked about that. 1968 was a big year.
Yes.
It's literally the year. If you look at history, and not like we knew anything back then, but if you look at history, I was just watching this documentary on Dan Rather.
Yeah, you were sharing a piece of that.
Yeah, this dude was really courageous. He got in the front lines. He was there on the bridges. He was there in Vietnam. He was there and was beaten up at the Democratic Convention, which was a very famous convention in 1968. He was beaten up. I didn't even realize that. And then people beat him up in New York because he was such a liberal and, whatever. But so it's been going on. People don't realize that it's been going on for a long, long time, this division. There was a civil war. Talk about division of righteousness.
Yes.
And just like me saying I was on the proper side of the path,
people believe they're on the right.
They believe they're on the right. They're on the right path.
And that's why the activation and the awakening has to happen for individuals, or it will not change. It'll look different names, but the same consciousness will be running it. And as I said before, we're entering a new paradigm.
Yeah.
Where we're showing people there's another option. There's another way of looking at this. There's a spiritual science underneath your religion that will liberate your soul as you walk
It's there.
on earth.
It's there.
Absolutely. It's the only thing there is, really.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the pandemic was a bottom, if you will. I mean, I don't really believe bottoms or whatever. You never know what it, but I mean, for lack of another term, I think it forced people to really evaluate this paradigm.
Yes.
And many people surrendered to their fears and ended up, there's like alcoholics galore. I cannot believe how many people are really relying on alcohol and drugs.
Yeah. They knew no other alternative.
That's what's in front of them. There's ads for it.
Absolutely.
And then there's ads for, medicines. It just bombards us. Here's your answer. And then we're going to tell you 19 side effects that might happen after you take this one. And it's going to lead to this one over here, and this one over here. But they're not giving any ads. There's no ads.
On breathing.
Yes.
Or meditation.
No.
Or kindness.
Or my thing, guided laughitation.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, laughter is condemned.
You think so?
I'm going to tell you why. Think of this. How many times have you heard, don't be silly, don't be a fool, he's foolish, I feel foolish, wipe the smile off your face, what are you laughing at, Philadelphia? What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? And that's not saying, what are you laughing at, like they're curious. They're not curious people.
Exactly.
They're not curious. They're telling you, stop laughing at whatever you're laughing at. It's the silliest system that we're under, and we don't even think about it. It's just become by rote. Mm-hmm. This is the patterning that we're programmed with. Mm-hmm. That you
Isn't it interesting that you broke that pattern?
Yeah.
I know. I'm thinking about those characters in your life or in my life that represent what you just.
They're countless.
Look.
They're countless. They're everywhere.
That's the example, though, that in spite of all that stuff that you went through, and I'm privy to some of it, here you are, shining the light.
Yeah, that's
the point I want to make, that any individual that's watching this or catches this It's part of the walk to go through the challenges. It's part of it. It's part of having a body. It's part of losing your memory when you're born and having to remember what we are remembering now. That, oh, I'm light, love, and intelligence. That's the essence of my being. I may be a lawyer. Doesn't change that I'm still light, love, and intelligence. So the fact that you get to share and I get to share what we've walked through, and I should say carried through and cradled through is my go-to, is such a powerful statement.
Yeah.
To show people, you know what, it doesn't have to be that way. And not mamby-pamby. I mean, this is serious.
No, I'm just thinking this for the first time. It's actually updating the things that we have learned in old scriptures, whether it's the Torah or
Bringing life to them.
Quran, Bible, whatever it is. You're bringing life to it in modern day
Absolutely.
language. I remember when I was younger, as I'm reading this stuff, I'm going, "What the hell is this?" And you've got to read backwards in one language and not forwards. I mean, it didn't make any sense to me.
Because nobody knew.
There was no context.
Yes.
And it was just, oh, you get rewarded though. You're going to get rewarded for your compliance.
You'll be safe.
I love a voice inside of me just kept speaking, and it was louder than the rest.
Yes.
And it brought me to me and you right here. It brought me to this. And I might have told you this story when I was a kid. I was really beaten, like literally physically beaten to a pulp. We moved a lot. It was different neighborhoods. I was shamed. Also, it was almost worse than beating, is being shamed by rich people and just not accepted. And the one time I was accepted was in 4th grade, Mrs. Stout's class. And this is where I was just caught by a rich guy, a rich kid, sewing my pants. I only had one pair of pants. I learned how to sew in 4th grade. This resilience. Mm-hmm. This is what happened. I got split pants. I got to learn how to put a thimble on, put the needle through the hole. And I was just so filled with, I didn't want to be there. I was always sick and miserable, migraine headaches. And one day I told a story about my mom beating me. And each person, I can still see them one by one, pew, pew, pew. They're paying attention, they're listening, laughing. And that laughter was magical. It was magical. And then I exaggerated. I learned how to exaggerate. I said, "Oh, she hit me so hard. I was a pinata. There was candy coming out of my mouth. Ah, unbelievable. There's a Snickers. There's a milk dud. Now I'm demonstrating, doing characters, and bam, got the class where I wanted." Mm-hmm. And the next day, the teacher said, "He's not going to do this in my class." And she took my wrists behind my back and she tied them together with blue yarn. I remember if it was blue. She found this blue yarn and she hog-tied me and put me in a closet for a whole day. And it's supply closet. She looks in and she goes, "You're going to think about this and you're never going to humiliate me again in my class." Because it was my forum now. I was on stage. And the opposite happened. That was the day. That was the day where, this voice, this gigantic voice, overwhelmed this voice of this dominating woman. I used to look at her. I would look through the vent at her thighs. Still remember her plaid skirt. These big thighs would come out, and I'd jump back up on the box. I was defiant.
You still remember that?
Oh, I remember this so vividly because that was the moment.
Yes. That
was the moment where I'm going to eschew all of these other voices that are not after my best purpose. Mm-hmm. They're not after that. Mm-hmm. They're after you get in line. And I'm like, my book is called Get Out of Line, Into Alignment. My alignment says, you keep doing this. You keep making people laugh, shine the light, activate them, whatever it is. She was activated.
Tell me this.
Not a positive way. Yeah.
How does it feel inside when you're doing that?
When I'm doing what?
When you're lighting people up.
With laughter?
Do you have that feeling on the inside that, for lack of a better expression, that you're healing as you do that?
No.
Oh, you don't?
Not that.
Okay.
What
about right now? Do you realize that you're healing as you do that work?
I realize it, but you're asking me in the moment, do I realize?
Oh, no, just in general.
In general, I know for a fact.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
That's-
Are you kidding? I have an organization called Laughter Heals. You kidding? It's one of the reasons I'm trying to tell people or guide people into find more laughter in there. If you want, do you want to still stand up? No pun intended. You want to get by obstacles with grace and integrity. You want to be happy. You want to be in bliss. This is the pathway to get there, is tap into that. Tap into having fun. My best friends are people that I grew up with, and we have fun. And by the way, nasty shit too. We'll talk about stories that were horrible. We were bad kids. We'll talk about, we'll laugh our asses off. So what?
Exactly.
So what? So what we did these things?
When people know better, they do better. When people have information,
Yeah.
they follow it. If they don't have any information, they pass on what they were taught. And as I'm just coming back to the religion part, that,
Yeah.
and not just religion, the religion of gluttony, the religion of selfishness. It's because people aren't aware. That's all. And when they
just
become
not
aware,
Yeah.
they make a left turn and they start walking back home.
Yeah. And let's hope that more people do that.
No question.
Yeah, it's going to turn into, it's a minority right now.
Maybe not.
Enlightenment, I believe enlightenment at this point in time is a minority. I mean, if you look at what's popular, let's put it that way, trends and popular, it's something pretty negative.
Well, okay, wait a minute. Wait,
Yeah.
before Now, that is true. But as you travel, and I've traveled a lot, there is a lot more enlightenment than is coming through that television or that radio.
Because they're quiet,
Right, they're living it.
living it. They're quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say it's a lot more than we suspect. That people are doing exactly what you're doing. Wherever they are, they're cultivating that relationship with that inner self or that higher self. And it's having a major effect. Because when I travel, I see it. Now, I know I see it because I'm it.
Yeah.
And I bring it.
I think the negative, there is a thing that it gets rewarded.
Sure.
Attention goes to the squeaky wheel. Attention goes
In
to
the world.
Exactly. In the world, not the universe.
Right. Good distinction.
And the world is like this it's not a it's a world that's very finite
Yes.
as opposed to living in the infinite.
Yes.
And I make these observations being a comedian or whatever, and I just see so much reward given to the negative. I mean, look, my favorite movie is The Godfather and Godfather 2, and they're both about killing and family and things like. I mean, really. And then they honor mobsters. I mean, I can't tell you how many cities have a restaurant called Capone's, another one called Dillinger's, but you won't see Mother Teresa's Steakhouse, Gandhi's Grill. Get the Gandhi plate. There won't be anything on it, but still. I mean, think about that. I mean, we don't reward people that do great, beautiful things.
But you know what?
Look at that. I can't find anything on TV. I'm looking for something uplifting. I'm looking for where is it? And I find myself back in it. I'm watching documentaries about cults and killers and things like, I'm sucked into it. So you know what I'm going to do? I just talked about it right before. You're the first to hear this. I just talked to my friend Dan here, who's part of this studio. We're going to do a special. I'm proclaiming this, that combines laughter and new thought and shared wisdom and spirituality. And that's something that people can tune into, learn, live, feel, essence,
Beautiful.
and laugh their asses off.
Absolutely.
So it's being applied right on the spot. Like I saw these I don't want to knock anybody, but they do this thing about laughter does this, and it's very clinical. And I go, hey, well, look at these stats and stuff like that. I said, why don't you make me laugh instead of reading stats? Anybody can read stats. I see this other speaker. He's a big speaker. He's reading cartoons because he knows you're supposed to make people laugh at this point in your speech. No, let's see how funny you are. But tell the truth. Truth is funny.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I know. I mean, really. They're doing what they're doing.
They're doing.
And here
what
comes
they're-
Craig.
And here comes Craig.
The wealth of wisdom from his soul and it's been sandpapered and curated through all of your experiences where you can actually deliver it. And you don't have the imposter syndrome either.
That sandpaper's rough sometimes. Anyway,
is.
Akili Beckwith.
I feel like we just got started, man.
I know. Well, you and I are just going to continue this anyway. He's my guide. Actually, how can people get a hold of you?
You have my number and my email.
I know I have your number. How do they?
I'm on IG.
Okay, give up the IG address.
It's my name.
Akili Beckwith.
Yes.
Okay, go to Akili Beckwith. Follow him. You might want to DM him and set an appointment. I'm just saying that I love hanging with this guy.
I don't post often.
I get these. It doesn't matter. It's about reaching out to you, and maybe they can be meeting with you, and you never know what's going to unfold, right?
Exactly.
So, Akili, I love you. I appreciate you being here. I really do. I know this isn't something you do every day.
No, it's not, but it's something I'm prepared to do. And this is a piece of something that's unfolding. So
Exactly,
and
yeah.
I want to thank you for inviting me and allowing me to just be
You're very
myself.
special to me, and Agape Spiritual Center is also special to me. It's where I met my wife,
Exactly.
who's now my ex-wife.
Where I met you.
And exactly right. So all of that unfolded, and here we are. Anyway, Michael, your brother, The Secret is the only thing on television that's 20 damn years old. I got to create another secret.
You know, I want to come back and do this again.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff went through my head today.
I know. Well, we can do it again.
And I looked over at Frankie and she said, it's time to wrap.
She's,
It's like,
she's
wow.
holding up signs over here.
No.
No. She's got the rap sign
Yeah.
over here.
No, I understand. I respect that. I'm just
I know.
full.
Exactly. We're full, and we want to, share what we're filled with. And if you're filled, I always say, I've got these beautiful grapes, and they're delicious grapes, and I choose to share them with people. And you might not like them. You might think I like red grapes and you have green grapes. I want seeds and you don't want seeds, whatever it is. But I'm still going to share them with you, and you can throw them back at me. You can throw them away. You can get rid of them, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to continue to share my great grapes.
Beautiful.
They're delicious and they're juicy. So that's what we did today. We shared some grapes. All right. Thank you, Akili, for being here. Thank you all for checking us out. Please pass the word. That would be really important. Okay. This is going to be a grassroots, not like smoking grass. This is that's my grandmother.
Come here, let me give you a shotgun, Craig.
You haven't lived till you've seen your granny hoeing weed in the backyard. I said, "What, Nana? They're going to catch
telling
you."
the truth.
I said, "Yeah." I said, "The cops are going to get you." She goes,
I tell him I got glaucoma. It's medicinal, you know, Craig.
Anyway, I appreciate you all. Please pass the word. So, how about you just tell one person and say, "Hey, I checked this podcast out. It's really different. It's uplifting. It's there for us." Can you do that? Can you just do that? I think that this thing can expand with your expansion, you helping that expansion. I'd appreciate it, all right? I love you too. See you next time.